I remember in my own life, I remember the gas shortages when OPEC got together and all the Arab nations decided to stop the gasoline from coming into the United States. They regulated that the supplies of fuel, oil, were going to be limited, and it started gas shortages and gas lines where you would open up a gas station. There would be a line for 2 miles for people to get gasoline, and there was a shortage of product. And you think about all the different emergencies that exist in society over years. And I remember that at that time I was running 5 gas stations. And I would open up the gas station in the morning, and it would be a line for a mile. And we had 3 gas stations in the town of Westfield, New Jersey, which was North Jersey. And there was one in Fanwood and one in Bound Brook. And we had several different brands, and sometimes I would be out of gas. And there would be a line 2 miles long. I didn't close the line. I didn't ask anybody to be there. And I was afraid to open the lines because people got violent. And then I remember that when all the electricity went off on the entire east coast of the United States for 23, 26 hours, whatever, there was no electricity whatsoever. And we jacked up a Jeep and we hooked up a hose from the base of the wheel of the Jeep to the pump at the gas station, and very slowly we were putting gas in cars, and we were the only ones pumping gas. So that's 2 emergencies. One is the gas shortage where people were out of gasoline, and eventually they went to odd and even license plate numbers to try to divvy it out fairly so that there wouldn't be such a panic. And I remember when there was an electrical outage all over the east coast of the United States. One electrical outlet after another failed, the electric grid, whatever, the power stations. And you didn't have air conditioning, you didn't have refrigeration, you didn't have lights. Even the gas pumps operate on electricity. We're in an electric world. And then I remember the 9/11 shortage. At that time I was working at a hospital, driving a bus. I drove staff. And all of a sudden over the radio it said that these planes ran into a building, and the reporter originally said he thought it was a navigation mistake, that the plane's navigation system must have gone off because they flew right into the building. And next thing you know, there was another plane that hit the Twin Towers, and they hit the Pentagon, and they were heading for Washington, D.C., and it started the Afghanistan, Iraq war, and the Mideast, and the new security world where you need passports to go to Canada. And you need a real ID license plate number to get on a plane. That's coming up, supposedly as of October of 2020. And the world constantly changes. And you have to really be prepared for almost anything. So that started the thing where you go into the airport and you have to take off your shoes, and they watch that you don't have a pocket knife in your pocket, and they examine your luggage, and you have to get special security clearance or approval, a pre-trip, in order to cut down on this process. And now we have COVID-19, the pandemic. And I think they had a movie, Pandemic. It was supposed to be a horror movie. But today, the horror is for real. People, you go into a supermarket, everybody's wearing a mask. They have a mask over their face. You shouldn't poison your neighbor, And everybody's washing their hands and using hand sanitizer. and I drive a bus at a community hospital now. I'm older, and I've done different things. I was security at a naval base. I ran 5 gas stations for 18 years. I was a traveling mystic for 15 years, where I did psychic fears, and that was one of my main interests in life, and still is to this day. And a lot of people don't even know I do this. I went from mystic to worker. And I have a lot of theories on life, but nevertheless, here we are in a pandemic, COVID-19, and people all of a sudden are becoming aware of you wash your hands, you keep clean, you protect yourself. And I think one of the biggest problems in Europe, where things spread so quick, so fast, was that people didn't know to wash their hands. It wasn't as big a deal as it is here. And what this is bringing to the world is an awareness that you should wash your hands, protect yourself against disease, be clean, don't be too close to most people, have a social distancing. And the world's constantly changing, and also our political environment. Everything's so tentative right now. I guess it'll be Trump and Biden. And I've done a lot of predictions on that, on my predictive ability, my predictive interest. I was known as a man who sees things before they happen, and that really was my specialty. And in a way, a lot of people used to get upset when they would sit with me, because they want to ask you a question about their life. And I saw that their life was changing. I was trying to tell them where the change is going to be. And all they were interested in was the questions that they had that has nothing to do with tomorrow. What you have today might not be there tomorrow. And it may change. Well, welcome to real life. Life changes. You got to be adaptable in this world. But this is it for now. I've been through the gas shortage. I've been through the electrical outage. I've been through 9/11, and now the pandemic. And we go from, these are the things you remember through the years and how people handled them. And I guess that's the advantage of old age. You have a lot of experience. You've been through various things, and oh well, let's see what's next.